Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Sammy Ward. Sammy, how are you?
Hi, I'm good. I'm very good, thank you. Um, I'm actually also recently getting over a cold, but I'm good.
Yeah, so
So
this will
my
be
voice is this is a huskier voice than I actually have.
we're having a little bit of a sore throat convention, but at least we can't get each other sick this way. I don't think Zoom technology is that good yet. Maybe I'm wrong. Excuse me. There it is. So let's start with the big question: who the heck are you?
So I'm a freelance illustrator creating comics. So I create my own comics. Most recently, Secret Rites, which is a twist on like a famous Greek myth that's on like Persephone's abduction. Um, I'm very much into mythology, which is what really made me apply for like Containment Breach, and like I really love doing this project, so
Oh, I'm
it
so
really
glad.
fits into like my wheelhouse.
And it's such a cool project, such a cool story that you're working on. It's funny because
Mm.
you're interested in myth, and you got one of the stories that sort of shifts out of it a little bit. But,
Yeah, it
right?
really does actually.
But what he's done is he's created a new myth in the tradition of
Yeah,
classic that also works with the cape genre. And I don't want to say more than that. Um,
yeah.
so is has that been? Have you been able to bring your sensibilities for classic myth into the presentation of this?
I think so a little bit, but also it was quite nice to be like, oh, this is actually really different, and this is going to be like a new challenge for me, because I haven't done that sort of typical, like, yeah, sort of like almost like a Cape Crusader type thing.
Right.
um yeah, that's new for me. I kind of delve a bit more into like the fantasy part of things, and um so yeah, it was nice. This was definitely like different and challenging, um but I love it. I really love Save's take on the prompt that we had. I
Yes.
don't know if I can say the prompt that we were
Go
given.
ahead. Say the prompt. It's silly. I
Yeah,
love
so
it.
we were given I myth you. And so I think I think his take on it was really good, in which it's kind of like basically he's created his own myth with it.
Yeah. So
So
you can thank Michael Flanagan and John Jack for that prompt. Uh, and Michael and John tend to really have a lot of fun with the silly, and I don't want to go further than we have, and we want to save some for Sahith too, right? But
yeah, that's true.
what you guys did with it, the direction he decided to take it in, and how you blossomed it, I don't want to say what it is what you did with it, but it's so funny and
Yeah,
brilliant. It was such a clever rethinking of the actual words, and that was great.
yeah,
I
yeah.
love it, and like I said, I've been watching your pencils, I've been watching your inks, I'm watching this develop. I'm also watching how collaborative you are. You and Sahith going back and forth with me and with our senior editor Mark Capitelli. Um, I read these emails like bright spots in my day. These incredible
Mm,
conversations of absolutely positive. There's no damn it, I don't want to do that, or that's a terrible idea. It's all that's or what if we did this? And I'm just sitting there. This is what I wanted. This I wanted
yeah,
to be able to be a part of to create a specific creative community and just enjoy it. And you guys are really doing that so well. Tell us something about the art of it. Are you doing? Have you altered your style? Are you changing it, or is it sort of classic? And what are you doing with it?
I don't think I'm really changing my style all that much. I'm trying to sort of go for like maybe a little bit like darker lines than I normally would. A lot of stuff I do is normally a little bit more like ethereal, a little bit out, like a lot of it's like outdoors and woodsy. So this is like a lot different, and so I'm kind of trying to like sort of darken the tone a little bit with everything. um and that's a lot of fun to kind of like work on. But as far as the style, I think I draw a lot of people. I think as far as my style has pretty much stayed the same. So hopefully you can still tell that it's me.
Right.
But it's been a really fun process because I have done collaborations before, but I feel like not to this level. And then obviously we're all communicating via email. It has felt like a good collaboration, like a good team of people to put in like all the sort of constructive sort of like criticism or constructive takes on everything is really helpful. It's really sort of nice to have that. I've found it's just really helped me to just work on, rather than just having my own brain, like, because I've created my own comics where I've written everything and sort of developed it all throughout by myself, and then I'll have someone sort of proof stuff in the end, but otherwise it's just kind of going off my own brain. So it's very nice to go off other people's thoughts and their takes on everything, and it's really nice because that's very new to me.
You know, I've written novels, I've written screenplays, and those can be very solitary tasks, and I enjoy that. I like the solitary task. And one day, a story came to me that was a comic. And that was, I love comics, but it wasn't the thing I was writing. But I knew this was a comic, and I was nervous about that. But I just started writing it on my own. And my creative partner, James Lyons, the other half of Fugitive Poems, um, he got his hands on the script. That's a whole story as to how that happened. And he came to me with a drawing. He said, I want to draw this. And I'd never had anyone draw something that I'd written before. And I was so taken with it, and I've discovered that collaborative process is so exciting because he'll come to me about my script. A lot of people think, the writer writes it and then the artist draws it separate steps. He'll come back to me and he'll be like, hey, what about this? The way that Ruiz looks in our River comic up on fugitivepoems.com, the way that this big blob of a person, that was James's idea. I hadn't written him that way, and it was brilliant to pair this guy with this sleek gun that he's got and the humor of it that came out, and that was James's idea. And then I took that and I ran with it in another direction, and then he has an idea. It's completely different than writing a short story or a novel. But my bridge between this was writing screenplays. I've written a number on my own, and I've written a number with partners, and that was my bridge between. But putting two different media, we're doing the same thing when we're writing a screenplay. Putting two different mediums together. That moment when, and I'm sure you know this well, when you have to go back to the writer and be like, dude, this is not a still image you wrote in this panel. This is 17 action moves.
Yeah.
James gets me with that all the time. I'm like, sorry. But when you have a writer that's open to that and sees it and is like, oh, right, sorry. I just got a little overexcited.
Yeah, I've had that. My partner writes comics and we've worked together before. And in the past, he's done exactly that, where it's been like a panel with like 5 different things going on. And so it's just like, okay, well, we're going to rework this a little bit, but that's okay.
So in this panel, he runs to the car, jumps in, turns it on, and goes. And you're just like,
yeah.
Still frames. So I get that. I still get that a lot over the years I've been doing it now. Because sometimes you just get overexcited. You mentioned secret rights, which James and I were really taken with when you applied for Containment Breach. Can you talk about it a little bit?
Yeah, so I came across, it was actually a few years ago now. I was doing, the famous Inktober drawing challenge.
Yeah.
I was doing that, and I was doing sort of gods and goddesses, like different deities, and I was looking up Persephone, and I found out all about this secret cult that really existed, and it really fascinated me of how like weird and strange it was. And it's called the Elysium Mysteries. I hope I'm saying that right. Elysium Mysteries. And and it's basically like a ritual where everyone would get together to celebrate the goddess Demeter and her daughter for returning from the underworld after Hades abducted her. And yeah, I was just so fascinated with how mysterious it was. Like all these people apparently taking drugs, believing that they would live forever. But without spoiling the book or anything, basically I sort of just wanted to do my own take on that story that sort of fits in with like the abduction of Persephone as well, and sort of showing it through the mother's side of things, Demeter's sort of perspective.
Oh, that's cool. So I'm a big fan of mythology, obviously, hence this book. And I know about Persephone, but while you were talking, I just went and looked up the Elysian mysteries. We'll just assume we're saying it right. Pardon me. And I didn't know much about that, so I'm going to be reading about that after we finish talking because
Yeah,
I love this stuff.
it is really fascinating. And I mean, it's the thing about like Greek mythology is it's mythology, so obviously there's lots of different sort of stories about it, which I think is kind of how it's great how you can sort of bring your own sort of take on it. So yeah, so that's basically, yeah, sort of what Secret Rites is about.
Can we get it? Can we read it?
Yeah, you can it's available from my Etsy shop at sammywarddraws.etsy.com. You can find it from my website as well, which is just sammywarddraws.com. It is just a physical copy that I have available. I should get on and get a digital copy out there as well to make it more accessible. I will do that.
But physical copies are cooler. I
The
like
physical copies are cooler. Yeah, it's always nice to actually hold a book in your hand.
Are you on? You're on Twitter as well. I know you are.
I am, yeah. So Twitter and Instagram, Sammy Ward Draws. Again, just everywhere is Sammy Ward Draws. You can find me.
Now, if somebody also DM you about buying the book, or
Yeah,
rather go through the Etsy.
yeah. I mean, I do have like a PayPal account, so can probably just do it through that as well.
So the quickest way would be to go to Etsy. Sammy Ward Draws. What was it?
sammywarddraws.etsy.com is my shop.
Guys, I have read a bunch of this, and it's so good, and I highly recommend getting it. And it was one of the things that made us look at Sammy and say, "Yeah, you're in. This is cool, and you've got the spirit for it." And then you get put on a project, as it turns out, that's less mythological in some ways, and and I'm watching you find that connection together, you and Sahith. I love it. Right now, don't worry about time of day or any taboos or guilt about what we're supposed to do at what time of day. If you could have any meal and drink appear in front of you right now, I'm Italian. These are the kind of things I think about. What would they be?
Yeah, I think about food a lot. Okay, so the first thing, as far as drink, I think I really love a fresh banana milkshake.
Oh, yes.
There has to be real bananas.
Yes.
I don't like the artificial flavor.
Artificial banana is terrible. Yeah, no.
Yeah. Food. Oh, there's so much good food out there. But if I really want to go back, so I mean, you're Italian as well, but I went to Naples and had the real pizza, Italian Naples pizza. That's probably what I miss that a lot.
I have a ton
I
of
would love
family.
to go back there and have that.
I have a ton of family in Naples, and I knew what you were going to say. When you discover what pizza is, and they serve it by the meter, right?
It's so good.
Oh,
you have so much. There's
yeah.
so much of it. But it's so good. Oh,
those
yeah.
fresh tomatoes and the fresh made mozzarella right there. Oh my goodness. I'm with you completely. Love it. Great, great choice. Sammy, I can't tell you how happy I am to meet you.
Yeah,
This
you
has been
too.
these interviews have been so cool to meet you, incredible contributors. And Sammy, you're
Yeah.
wonderful to talk to. I'm so excited about your projects. Is there anywhere else we
Thank
should
you.
look for you? Anything else you got going on that you want to mention?
I'm working on multiple things at the moment, but I can't really talk about them that much, to be honest. So
Okay.
yeah, but yeah, you can find me sammywarddraws.com and on Instagram and Twitter. Yeah, I'm all over the internet, hopefully.
So you're going to want to
But
click
yeah,
here. You're going to want to hit the pre-launch for the Kickstarter, and then you're going to
yeah.
want to go to sammywarddraws.com or sammywarddraws.etsy.com and order the secret rights because it's really freaking cool. And Sammy, thank you so much for being with me today.
Thank you. I can't wait to watch more of these interviews as well when they come out.
They're so cool. Not because of me at all and my shocking lack of professionalism, but because of the people we're talking to, everyone on this book. Folks, go to fugitivepoems.com, subscribe, read our free comics we got up there. Actually, there's a new one up
Free
there.
comics.
It's actually not up there yet, but by the time this airs, we're going to be dropping for free the comic we put in Containment Breach Volume 1. So if you haven't read it, you're going to be able to as a little idea of what goes on. And it actually, even though that wasn't a mythology theme, this has a mythos concept to it. It's called Shelter in Flames, and James knocked it out of the park. Go to fugitivepoems.com, at Fugitive Poems on Twitter, at Fugitive Poems on Instagram, at CDMETC, which is, everyone wonders where the hell that came from. It's my initials, Christian DeMatteo, etc. Because way back in the day, I couldn't think of an email address, and I've just stuck with it since high school. That's me on Twitter. Check out, go to the pre-launch, get signed up for it this fall. Keep an eye out for Containment Breach Volume 2. Let me say this, I only have one story in it. So when I tell you it's awesome, I'm telling you it's awesome because of these incredible contributors. Go to Sammy Ward Draws, I'm going to say it again, .etsy.com and order the secret rights. And be prepared because there's more amazing stuff coming your way. Guys, thank you so much. We are Fugitive Poems, and we make comics.